Ladies and gents, welcome to the Westfalenstadion,
to the BVB Stadion,
to Signal Iduna Park,
the home of the Gelbe Wand, the yellow wall.
Freed from desire, mind and senses purified.
Yes guys, welcome back to another stadium tour. As you can see behind me, we're here outside the Signal Iduna Park. Now, this place has got so many names, it's probably most known as the Westfalenstadion, but for the upcoming Euros and for other European competitions that Dortmund play in, they have to call it the BVB Stadion, the BVB Stadium. Obviously you can't have sponsors in the names for those competitions. They even had another name all the way back in 2006 during the FIFA World Cup. It was called the FIFA World Cup Stadium. So there we go. But the Westfalenstadion. So what we're going to do, guys, obviously we've got a stadium tour booked as we normally do. We're going to start off with a bit of a 360, but I'm going to start over the other side of this ground where they used to play and where the BVB 2 team play. I'm not sure what they're called. A lot of German teams have second teams that play in the lower tier. That was their old ground, of course. It was used for athletics and various other sporting events. So let's head over now, just as it's starting to bloody rain, and check out where Dortmund used to play. Let's go. Right guys, so I really do need to brush up on my German because I'm getting a lot of people coming up to me and saying what I think they're saying is, what a nice shirt, because it is a lovely shirt. This is one off Classic Football Shirts, a genuine shirt in my collection. But rather than get over to where I said, to the Stadion Rote Erde, I think that's how you say it, let's just do the 360 on our way there because it's basically over the other side. Now behind me, as you can see, you've got the club shop. Now I'm not sure as of you watching this if you've seen the Borussia Mönchengladbach tour I've done, but as of filming it, it was yesterday and the tour went on that long that the bloody shop closed, so we couldn't get anything from the club shop. But we're here early, so we are 100% going to make up for it today. I'm going to buy loads of stuff in that club shop. You love it when I get in the club shop. But my missus doesn't. I spend an absolute bloody fortune. So I'm not going to pretend to know where I am, the names of the stands and so on. Obviously, the most famous of stands, as I look to my notes, we know it is the yellow wall, but officially it is a 24,454 capacity South Bank Sud Tribune, I think it's called. Sounded a little bit French when I said it. It is the largest standing terrace in Europe, famed for its amazing atmosphere. And it's a shame we're here on a tour, not on match day, because it would have been incredible. But we might come back, we will come back on Rise Football Paradise. In the background, you can see it really is striking. Now again, as I look to my notes, I didn't need to read up on this because you lot should know already that this is the largest stadium in Germany. It's the 7th largest stadium in Europe. By the way, as a point of reference, we're outside the Fanwelt. You've got a ticket office in there, obviously the shop. We found that with Mönchengladbach, they seem to have like a building outside grounds, outside the stadium where everything's at, rather than inside the stadium itself. I could be wrong, I could be chatting gibberish. But again, as we look to our notes, the capacity, according to Wikipedia, I'm sure we'll find out officially in a moment, for domestic games is a whopping 81,365. And I did double check and compare that to the Allianz, for example, which was like a 70,000 capacity. Obviously the Olympiastadion in Berlin, which is going to host the final of Euro 2024. That's smaller. This is the biggest. It's bigger than Old Trafford. It's the 3rd largest kind of major club ground after the Nou Camp and the Bernabeu. Enough of me rambling, there's so much to see here. Let's flip the camera around and get some beautiful shots on our way to the old ground. Let's go. Right then guys, let's just break up that montage for one moment. Over here around the sort of northeast part of the stadium, you've got the Borussia Dortmund Museum. Obviously we're going to be going in there after the tour, so stay tuned for that. There is a buzz around the place. As much as I enjoyed that Mönchengladbach tour yesterday, it was a very nice, fancy stadium. But I felt like it was comparable to a lot of UK modern stadiums, which we often criticise for lacking a bit of charisma, a bit of personality, obviously the history, whereas this has been here, or they've been playing here, since 1974. Yes, indeed, opened in 1974. Obviously, prior to 1974, they were playing where we're going now. If I quit rambling, let's go check it out. So there we go then, guys. A cheeky glimpse. Obviously, I'm going to try and get a closer look. But now, despite the fact that the second Borussia Dortmund team are playing here, I think it does host athletics and various sporting activities similar to it did prior to the first team playing here. It just absolutely is dwarfed by the mammoth that is the Westfalenstadion. I think we can go this way. Everywhere you go around German football grounds, there are beer trucks. I'm looking for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've not seen a Steve Weiser truck quite yet. Oh yes, here we go. We're going to get a lot better look over here. Unfortunately, from the outside, everything seems to be gated off, but I'm hoping when we get inside the new ground, they've been here since 1974, we might get a better look from outside looking down. I'm sure they'll mention it on the tour. I think it is a self-guided tour though, so someone will mention it. It'll be written somewhere. But something I do want to mention is how many of these little cabins, these little fan shops are knocking around. I've only just done kind of half of the ground of the outside, and I've already seen like 10 different fan shops, 9 if I'm being exact, but I'm sure I'll find a 10th just down here somewhere. So yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you can really feel something at this ground. It gives me kind of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium vibes. Obviously this was built, or this opened in 1974. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is brand new, swanky and so on, but obviously that was built on the site of the old White Hart Lane. Now the old ground is still there, as we can see, in some capacity, but I just love the fact that they've stayed in their home. I love that. Here we are then, guys. I didn't think we were going to get in, but we're here inside the Stadion Rotti Erdi, or however you pronounce it, which basically translates to the Red Soil Stadium, I think. This was used prior to Dortmund being here. This was used, as I said, for athletics and various other things. From 1926 to 1937, it was mostly used for athletics, but obviously in 1937, Borussia Dortmund moved in here, and of course, they stayed here until 1974, when they went and moved into that massive beast behind me. I'm going to keep going around here until I get kicked out. There's a few people knocking around. Oh my God, over here, it's all going on. You've got a swimming pool over here. That would give Cheltenham Lido a run for its money. I roam from town to town, and when I find myself falling for some girl. I told you I'd spot number 10. In the bloody Lido, in the swimming bath area, there's another fan shop. That's number 10. Crazy. But yeah, one thing I've noticed, again, when we went to the old Stadion, the former home of Borussia Mönchengladbach, I'm not sure if I mentioned that it was just all terracing like this, all open terracing, which is fine in Spain or somewhere like that, but Germany, the weather's just as crap as in England. But normally with like one covered area, like we've got over there. So you've got one covered stand, the rest open terracing. Again, pretty much identical to the old Buckelberg Stadium. It's crazy. So many people have spotted me. They're just going about their business. Maybe they've seen me in this retro Dortmund top and they thought, do you know what, I'll let this lad do what he's got to do. If this was England, I'd have been told, no, get out. People are very nice here in Germany. Here in Dortmund, should I say. Maybe not all of Germany. We've not been to all of Germany. We can only speak on where we've been to. Everyone's been delightful so far. Okay, so that didn't last long. The bloke on the mower said, oi, and then did that. So away we go. But we've got closer than we originally thought. I believe over here is the south part of Signal Iduna Park. which I believe is where the yellow wall is. Right guys, the southeast entrance is closed. I'm not going to push it anymore. I'm going to head back to hopefully an open club shop, and I'm not going to miss out on buying an item this time like I did in Borussia Mönchengladbach. I keep getting people asking me stuff in German. I think he was asking for directions, so that's my cue to leave. I'll catch up with you back outside the shop. Let's go. I don't know if you can see that, guys. Monday to Sunday, 10 till 6:30. Nowhere opens till 10 o'clock, so we're not going to be able to get anything quite yet. Deja vu of yesterday. But I'm so dopey. I've seen so many stickers marking the 50 years here at Signal Iduna Park, the Westfalenstadion. Look at those items. I can just see through the window. There's some glorious stuff. Obviously, Dortmund released a special kit as well to mark 50 years here. I think I can see it over there, so we'll keep our eye on that one. But yeah, obviously it's 2024, 1974, Roy, do the maths, but the car's back this way and we've yet to explore that side of the stadium. Let's see how close we can get. This is my beautiful ride for the few days. Should unlock by itself when you get close to the door. There we go. Hey, we're not going back yet. Over here, guys, similar again to Leverkusen when we did the live tour yesterday. You've got all kinds of academy and training pitches over there. I'm not going to start filming, kids, that would be weird. Well then guys, closed. I thought us Brits were lazy. Jesus Christ. Nobody in Dortmund wants to wake up before 10 AM. So that's why the car park over there is closed. It did warn me. I've been using Google Maps here on my 4G, which I'm sure I'm going to regret when I get home, because it's going to probably charge me a bomb. It did say on Google Maps, this place doesn't open until 10. And like a typical ignorant bugger I am, I was like, it'll be open. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the car there for a moment. I'm going to walk over there and try and find a shop. As I said, I've not eaten for over a day. I'm bloody starving. There's another fan shop over there. No luck with the food. You can see why us Brits are a bit chubby. There's a corner shop on every street. But I'll persist, guys, because I've just spoke to a lovely person who works here, speaks English. We are allowed to park here, and I can see now the doors are just opening for the stadium tour. Here we go, let's go. Do you speak English? Or no? Yeah. Ah, which way is the way? This way? So there we have it, guys, the yellow wall. Unfortunately, guys, I do have some bad news. The famous yellow wall is apparently out of bounds to actually walk on today. Trust our luck, but we can get up close. We can get a good look at what is the largest single tier terracing in all of Europe. We're heading in the wrong direction in what is a very rainy day here in Dortmund, but first impressions are incredible. I'm trying to compare it to an English ground when we went to Borussia Mönchengladbach yesterday. I thought there was a hint of St James's Park, probably because of the colour scheme. But with this yellow, with the mammoth terracing, there's nothing quite like it in Britain. As a reminder, it's the largest stadium in Germany and it just has character. It's not your typical swanky new modern stadium, it's got grit. So rather than seeing my ugly mug, guys, I thought I'd narrate over the top of this stadium walk. Now as you look over here, this is going to look quite weird for us British football fans. You've got fencing. Now when we did the Mönchengladbach tour, I referenced the fact that seeing huge terracing is really weird in top flight football for us Brits. Obviously we're only allowed safe standing, but this fencing gives me throwbacks to when Ken Bates put up fencing at the old Stamford Bridge. If you remember, he put up the fencing to stop crowd trouble, I believe in the 80s. So maybe this is to stop pitch invasions, I don't know. Let us know in the comments below. But these spikes on the top of the fencing don't look too pretty, so I don't fancy climbing those. So obviously this season hasn't been the best domestically for Dortmund. I believe they're 5th as of filming this, but obviously in terms of European football, they're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Just a reminder, we always think the Premier League is superior, but there's 2 Bundesliga clubs in the last 4 of the Champions League, obviously Bayern being the other team. No Premier League teams, and as a reminder, as of filming this, Leverkusen are still undefeated. They're invincible, so they could well go on and win the Europa League as well. They've just beaten West Ham. So do not disregard the Bundesliga. People used to call it the Farmers League. It's no longer the Farmers League, with Leverkusen snatching the title. This is fantastic. I'm loving this. No, ladies and gents, this isn't bird poo. This must be a cultural thing in Europe. This is the away section, of course. You've got the away terracing. And look at that. You don't see terracing looking like that in the Premier League, in the Championship, even League 1 or League 2. It's crazy. Maybe a bit of League 2. But if you look at all the stickers, you can see various clubs being represented. Here we go then, guys, in the home dugout. Now these are very comfy seats. Very comfy indeed. So next we're off inside the ground. Apparently we get to go in the home changing rooms, the press conference room and all the usual places we see with inside a stadium. But I'm not in any rush. I'm just enjoying this beautiful view. So just think of all the legendary players that would have come down those steps and through this amazing tunnel. Walking down the tunnel, I'm going to give you a little idea as to what it's like for former, well, current great players. Why am I saying former? Current great players like Jadon Sancho. But back up the steps we go. Hello. Ah. I won't say it in front of people, but first impressions of the changing room aren't that good. If this was an English changing room, I'm sure I would be slagging it off right now. Showers are okay. We've got a nice plunge pool over there. But just look at the decor. I mean, simple things like this tiling and hooks, they just look a little bit old. Toilets.
out of bounds. So over here, guys, you can see the faces, the photos of Borussia Dortmund players. Normally you've got like a name tag, but here he is. I've just made fun of him. Our main man, Dortmund's number 10, Mr. Jadon Sancho. I'm not going to lie to you though, guys. This changing room, what do you think of it? Am I being harsh? Doesn't look that amazing. Rough and ready. But do they need a swanky, fancy changing room? I think players are quite spoilt, especially Premier League players. Ladies and gents, this is where Erling Haaland, back in the day, was sorting out his lovely barnet. Ladies and gents, that's basically the stadium walk. I thought we were going to go into the press conference room, but the door was locked. That is just where you get to see where the team bus pulls up, right outside where we were. But that said, just being here has been enough. And I think it's now time to avoid missing out on some beautiful club shop items. Let us know what you think of the ground, whilst I head over to the club shop. Let's go. You know what I'm going to say, guys, there's so many quirky novelty items. I mean, how many British club shops are you going to get work boots with a club crest on? BVB bloody work boots. Absolutely fantastic. Downstairs is basically a whole section on quirky novelty items. Upstairs, I think, is clothing. I was tempted to get this, guys. As I mentioned earlier on, they released a shirt to mark 50 years here at the Westfalenstadion. And this is it. It's a beautiful shirt. 1974 to 2024. Obviously they've been popular because the smallest size they do is an XL. I was looking for a large, but I was going to say my belly is getting bigger and bigger, but I'm not eating still, so I might lose some weight, so XL might be a bit too big. So let's keep on looking. So then, ladies and gents, what a fantastic selection of novelty, quirky club shop items Borussia Dortmund have in the club shop. Now, as you can see, I'm heading over to the bloody cafe for what is like a pastry, cherry pastry thing, and a bread roll with a bit of cheese on, if I don't lose it on the floor. Right guys, normally I leave the item I bought in the shop until the end and we reveal it, but let's be honest, I've got a suitcase, and as much as some of those kettles and stuff look nice, I might be British, English, but I don't drink tea, so a kettle is no use to me. So look at this. I went and bought that shirt. I thought, as we're here just after the 50th anniversary of this glorious stadium, it seems fitting that this will fit in the bloody suitcase. And look at this box it's come in. We've got the official 50-year anniversary shirt. He did ask me, did I want a player on the back? I joked Jadon Sancho when he started trying to print it. I said, no, just don't put anything on it. ticket office behind me, guys, but we need to finish up in the Borussia Dortmund Museum. We need to be fairly quick because I am off. I need to speak quite quietly, especially as I'm stood in a Dortmund shirt. We are off to the arch rivals, Arena auf Schalke, the Valtins Arena, straight afterwards. It's only just over half an hour away though, so not too far indeed, especially with the way I'm absolutely ragging around that hire car. No fear on the wrong side of the road.
Now then, up the lift into the Borussia. Now, if you just look at the Borussia Dortmund badge, you can see 09 because Borussia Dortmund were founded indeed in 1909. Now, there were a group of people who were somewhat disgruntled about the current team they were playing for, so they set up what is now known as Borussia Dortmund. Now, Dortmund is actually a sports club. It's not just a football club, but it's obviously most famously known for its football team. Now, Dortmund didn't originally play in yellow and black. I'll get on to more about that in a moment, but they're currently known as the Schwarz-Gelben, which obviously means the donkeys. I'm only joking. If you did see the Mönchengladbach video, I somehow translated Die Fohlen to the donkeys. Here we go. Let's learn a bit more about those colours, Roy. Oh, they're the chaps who set up the club. You can see the kit was a little bit different back then.
So, ladies and gents, as it says over there, as some of you might already know, blue and white stripes, they were the initial colours of Borussia Dortmund until they changed to the famous yellow and black. I believe that's Schwarz is black in 1913. The Schalke colours, who would have thought?
So, yes, Dortmund, die Schwarz-Gelben, the yellow and blacks, had similar colours to Schalke. Schalke obviously are their main rivals due to competitive matches, competing for titles and so on. They're obviously Die Klassiker, I think it's called, like the German El Clasico is with Bayern Munich. But I love looking around these museums. Now, this museum, it is not the biggest. When we went to Die Fohlen Museum or whatever it was called, the Mönchengladbach one, that was the second largest club museum apparently. There you go, with some more evidence of old shirt types. Die Deutsche Fußballmeister, obviously that's been sung a lot off the back of Leverkusen winning. You can see success didn't just come in recent times. People think off the back of the 90s and winning the Champions League. Here you go, 2002, speaking of Leverkusen, this is that famous season where Leverkusen could have done the treble. Now, it was indeed Dortmund who pipped them to a Bundesliga title, but reminder, Dortmund were 1 point ahead of Leverkusen going into that final game, but obviously Dortmund would trail behind. I think it was Werder Bremen, and obviously Leverkusen were celebrating because they thought they were going to win their first Bundesliga. Obviously that's all in a rear view window now. Leverkusen are having the season they are, but many a success over the years for Borussia Dortmund. You can see in a moment we will head to the trophy room, but I love looking at all these little bits of memorabilia, all these items which are displayed in the museums. Here we go, here's a 97 Champions League, the manager's coat here, signed. Look at that, there he is. And as a film in this, Dortmund have qualified once again. They're in the final of the bloody Champions League 2024. Can they replicate this moment in a few weeks time, a couple of weeks time? I think they might. I'd like to see an all-German final. We've got Bayern versus Real Madrid tonight. So into the trophy room, also known as the Schatzkammer. Now, obviously, as I said, Dortmund have had many a success over the years. They've won 8 league titles. Here is the Bundesliga shield, and here are their accomplishments. There's the 8 of them right there, from the 50s all the way to 2012 as the last one. Here's the DFB Pokal, a few of those in recent times. This is what they're calling the Europa Pokal, but we'll know it as the European Cup Winners' Cup.
This is the most famous of them all, the Champions League, of course, in 1997. What a beautiful kit that was as well, the one they won the Champions League in. And the Wout Pokal, that's not the World Club Championships, that is a trophy that was formerly known as the Intercontinental Trophy, Championship, whatever. There we go, and we always celebrate the fact that German clubs celebrate their fan support. They're very fan-orientated. Here's a numpty here, hello. Very fan-orientated German football clubs, and evidence of that is in the fan project section of the museum. Look at that. Oh, and we'll get on to the stadium. I've got something I need to mention at the end of the video as well, because I keep mentioning that the fact that it is the biggest club stadium in Germany, or the biggest stadium in general in terms of capacity in Germany. So yeah, you often get a lot of those little cinema room type things, but here's a little section on 50 years at Westfalenstadion. This is a beautiful little replica ground, more artwork on the walls. But yes, ladies and gents, so I keep saying it's the largest German football stadium. It is in terms of attendance for domestic games, but as we keep mentioning in the Euros, which are around the corner, obviously this ground will be one of the host grounds, but the BVB Stadion, as it will be known, will only have a capacity of 62,000, whereas obviously it's a lot more for domestic games. The reason being, I can't think of any other reason off the top of my head other than the fact that the Süd Tribune, the famous yellow wall, the terracing obviously is allowed for Bundesliga games, but in countries like in England, obviously we can't have that kind of setup, so I'm guessing the capacity is lower due to standing maybe, which will make at Euro 2024 the largest stadium in terms of capacity for the Euros will be at the Olympiastadion in Berlin. That'll have about 71,000 capacity. The Bayern Munich Allianz Arena, I'm guessing it won't be called that either for Euro 2024. That capacity will be around 66. Obviously Dortmund's 62. So there we go. We've got to put that into perspective for the upcoming Euros. But that said, it was impressive. It was incredible. And really enjoyed that stadium tour. It's everything I thought it would be and more. I mean, it wasn't really a proper tour. It was a stadium walk. They didn't show you that much. So in terms of actually a tour, it maybe wasn't the best. But the fact that we were there in the famous Signal Iduna Park was enough for me. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it indeed. I think it was breathtaking, it was huge, but you can see now when you put it into perspective with capacity and it being a lot lower for the Euros. For me, when you go to Old Trafford, I think you do have that feeling of it being a bit bigger, even though obviously the capacity is higher for domestic games in Dortmund. But there we go, guys. After that, I went straight to the arch enemy. You might have seen this in the recent Ipswich video. I've got my Schalke high-vis here. More on that in the Schalke video. Yes, we did a Woutins Arena stadium tour. We also took a look at their old ground where famous artists like Michael Jackson would play at. So check out those videos coming up on the channel. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. This is the bloody home of stadium tours. I do a lot of stadium tours on the channel, and make sure you check in to the live stream on Thursday. There's some videos on screen right now, and it's been a bloody pleasure. Thanks for watching.